How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Creator's Process. Today, I'm sitting next to Focus Jase. How you doing today, man?
Good, man.
Very good.
Yep.
So tell us about yourself, man.
So I'm 39. Live in regional Australia. Have done for most of my life. I've been shooting for about 10 years. Focusing primarily on female art nudes, I guess.
Yep.
I've shot you though, so I've branched out, sort of.
Awesome. And so what got you into the industry? So what made you decide to branch into photography?
I think I've had a bit of an interest in photography for a few years. Like as a younger person, I didn't do a heap of art-focused stuff, but had a few film cameras sort of in my later teens. I think I found like especially a female nude body quite like attractive, but on sort of a more interesting level, I guess, and being exposed to sort of seeing like early kind of fitness focused kind of calendar work and things like that kind of piqued my interest, and then I guess it's just been in the back of my mind until I got a digital camera.
And you just went from there?
A few years ago, yeah, and just thought, we'll give this a crack, and started with an ex-girlfriend who was happy, and I was very lucky enough, sort of both learned from each other. She found it quite exhilarating. She had a lot of body confidence issues, so she found it quite good in that respect, sort of seeing photos of herself, quite exposed but looking good. So that was a good, jumping off point, and then it's sort of just gone from there.
Fantastic. And so when you say that you started from there, how did you, I guess, branch out a bit more? Like, so was it hard to find, people to shoot with, or, to find clients? How did you start?
Yeah, well, initially it was because I didn't have a body of work, so I think that was the hardest thing, was sort of trying to get people to work with you when you didn't have anything to show them an example of what you've done.
Yes.
So I was able to, I worked with my ex, and then had a friend who was a life model, and so I shot with her, then did a few workshops, and then from then sort of started to build up a bit of a portfolio, and then I used Model Mayhem initially, and then probably for the last, I guess, 7 years I've been almost exclusively using Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook a little bit, but yeah.
So most of your clients come from Instagram?
Yeah, so from, and I guess social media, like generally I guess there's a lot of crossover.
So when it comes to themes and ideas, do you have what are some of your main themes and ideas that you like to explore when you do your photo shoots, and what is the process of creating?
I find it's probably, I have found like some people like to have a very specific concept when you kind of initiate chatting with them, which is not how I approach it. So sometimes those shoots don't work out, sometimes they do, but I find if I've done in the past when I've tried to focus too much on a concept, I've often been a little bit disappointed in how it's panned out, whereas I find if I keep it a bit loose, we generally just kind of be more freer in exploring, and
So the ideas kind of roll out as you keep photographing on the day?
Yeah. So sort of you might find, like especially shooting in a forest setting or a bush setting or like an abandoned building, you might just find a cool little shaft of light or a little patch of vegetation, or something that's really like, oh wow, that's cool, and then that'll inspire. I think that'll sort of get your creative or my creative brain going, as well as the models, and then we kind of snowball from there. So I suppose it's case by case. Yeah, and I think I've found that kind of allows a lot of, I guess, individuality to come into it as well. So rather than like I want to work with you, but I want to do what my look is about, I guess. You kind of both, it feels a lot more collaborative.
Yeah. It becomes more of a collaboration than you photographing someone.
Yes. Yeah, and just telling them how to be, I guess. Yeah.
And so I remember you saying that you have a Patreon account. So tell me about your Patreon account. So what do you do with it?
So I've got. It's not very successful. It's all right, but I don't really make much money from it. It allows me. I basically just roll that over into having being a patron on other people's accounts.
Okay.
So I had 3 tiers of support. So basically you can structure it with as many or as little tiers as you want, and then assign a dollar value to that tier, and then that gives you access to certain benefits. So
Yep.
my one was set up with a $2 tier, and that was a daily uncensored photo. Then a $4 tier, which was that gave you access to the $2 tier plus the sort of mini set posted once a week, and then there's a $6 one, which is like a full photo set posted each week plus the lower tiers. And so I kind of structured it how like it's not very. I'm not hugely interactive on there. I just post, when I'm every day for the unsent, like the daily ones, and then do a short little description of what happened on the day and stuff. Yeah, so it's good. It allows me to patronise other people and just keep it sort of flowing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so what are your other ways, when it comes to, making money in this industry? How do you usually make your income? Do you make a big income when it comes to photography?
I'm mostly, because I've got a full-time job otherwise, so I've I guess approached it just as a hobby.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of take, sometimes I do paid gigs, but generally it's mostly trade, or I'll pay models. I think I wanted to take away the kind of financial element to it, because I feel like that for myself that would feel like a bit too much pressure on the creative process. So sort of feel like if I can, ideally it's a collaborative thing, or always is a collaborative thing anyway, but if there's personally I find like having the financial element sort of can potentially take the sort of
take the passion out of it.
Yeah, like you're doing it for the money rather than the creativity, I guess, of the fun as well, which is why I got into it. Like I just,
it's
really enjoy it.
You're passionate and you enjoy it, and sometimes I have heard that there are cases where people do go into it and then they start making more money and then they kind of lose that passion to do it, and then they feel like they have to it becomes more of a as a job, as in like something that you have to do to make money instead of being passionate about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's something that I think I can find time to do without sort of impinging on me financially. So, whereas I think taking that pressure off really gives you that freedom.
The freedom to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
So when it comes to doing photography, and if there are people watching that are interested in getting into this line of work, do you have any advice you would give them on like how to start, or what steps to take to do photography?
Well, all I can offer is what worked for me, but I think initially doing checking out workshops is a really good way to get some work together, a body of work. It's cheap, or cheaper than hiring a model one-on-one, and quite often you get some pretty good advice from the other photographers that are there. And then just be honest with yourself, I guess. Like, sort of have a look. It's like analyse what you kind of which parts, which elements you're passionate about, and try some stuff. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Be experimental.
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error, and go with your gut too. Like I've found like sometimes you might want to work with people, but it just doesn't feel right, and that's okay. You rather than trying to force something, it's probably much better to be just like, oh well, that doesn't work, but that's cool. I can. You can still enjoy people's work without having worked with them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have many projects coming up in the next few months?
I'm pretty good for the moment. I always have. I lose track, but I've always got like sort of ongoing conversations and DMs with models. So it's sort of like, I think because it's winter at this point, outdoor shoots are kind of out for the moment. So once the weather starts warming up, we sort of start gearing up again, and then. I think it's more just, and also, sort of with restrictions being as they are, I guess with
Have to wait for that.
Yeah. So we're sort of trying to work around that, and yeah. But I think like generally I've kind of been booking months in advance, and so I've really tried this year to kind of just take a little bit of a step back and be a bit more available and make time for other stuff rather than shoots, because I tend to, if there's nothing on a weekend, I'll just book a shoot.
Absolutely,
it's a good thing, but you can quite often end up not doing anything else. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing some more good content.
Oh, thanks, man.
I want to say a huge thank you for just taking the time out of your day to come and chat with me about your process and your inspirations when it comes to shooting.
Oh, no worries, man.
Thanks
for having me.
That's all good. Thank you to everyone who has watched this episode. I will leave links to Focus Jase's Instagram, everything down below, so you can go and check out his amazing work. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.